Changes are coming that have the potential to alter the usual course of things. It's important to remain attentive and not miss a single detail, because the most significant and revealing is yet to come. You are about to experience a kind of emotional upheaval that will touch your deepest feelings, while at the same time bringing liberation. You need to listen to what is happening with an open heart, because everything that is happening is not accidental and carries an important meaning. In the near future, a delicate situation may arise involving someone in your close circle, perhaps a friend. This person will face health problems. This event will touch your feelings and cause a strong emotional response. Despite outward restraint, there is a deep sensitivity hidden inside that you don't usually show to others, and this case will allow it to manifest. Don't see this as a tragedy, but rather as a sign, a call to pay attention to the past and present. There is a tendency to constantly look ahead, as if nothing can catch up, as if past events don't matter, but that's not the case. There are mistakes that are repeated, creep into your life, and masquerade as new solutions, when in reality they are old wounds that need healing. It's time to stop, look back, acknowledge your mistakes, and fix them, otherwise you'll face even more pain in the future. It's not at all about not having a clear idea of what you want, on the contrary, clarity in understanding the ideal becomes a kind of trap. Striving for perfection in a chosen one, expecting complete resonance in dreams and aspirations, leads to an uncompromising rejection of those who do not meet the inflated criteria. However, it is worth listening to the wisdom of the ages. The attraction of opposites is not just a beautiful metaphor, but a fundamental principle that must be realized. The ideal to which the subject aspires is unattainable in its absolute form. If you don't loosen your grip in the pursuit of illusory perfection, the most valuable thing, true love, will constantly slip away. Don't be afraid of change, even if it brings temporary discomfort and chaos. Ultimately, it leads to purification, order, and transformation. You, more than anyone else, know this, because you were born for multiple rebirths, possessing the unique ability to destroy the old and build the new, becoming only stronger in the process. Therefore, you should stop resisting the inevitable and stop clinging to what has already outlived its usefulness. Scorpios, prepare for the changes ahead, for they bring you good fortune. The coming weekend promises to be unusual, as the heavens are preparing to open a portal, a kind of bag of truth, from which events and situations will pour out, requiring your close attention. You may feel discomfort, notice annoying behavior in others, or feel an intrusive noise in your head that prompts immediate reaction. However, before you give free rein to impulsive actions, stop, take a deep breath, and carefully consider the situation. Avoid rash conflicts, as a wise approach will allow you to emerge victorious. You are capable of handling any challenge, because life experience has taught you a lot. You have experienced ups and downs, caused pain, and suffered wounds yourself. But this doesn't make you worse, it only emphasizes your humanity, courage, and wisdom. Love is not a battlefield, Scorpios, but a territory for learning and growth. Let go of guilt and self-flagellation, stop thinking that past failures were deserved punishment. All trials were given to you so that you could learn lessons, avoid repeating mistakes, and learn to do the right thing in the future. Before moving on, do the following: write a motto in the comments, putting all your strength, intention, and emotional fire into each letter. Scorpio, open my heart to changes that strengthen me, and allow myself to love without fear, without striving for perfection, with truth. Scorpio, you are not alone in the labyrinth of life, even if the shadow of misunderstanding lies at your feet and your decisions seem condemned by a strict court. The intensity of your nature, which seems to others to be a flaw, is actually the spark of a divine flame. Within you lies a power that few can match, a power accessible only to the initiated. But this colossal energy, like an untamed beast, requires direction, needs a high purpose, otherwise it will turn against you, burning your soul from within. It's time to focus, sink your claws into the projects that you've been putting off. Ideas and plans are ripening in your mind, capable of soaring to the highest peaks, but they languish in a half-finished state, as if something is missing for the final push. What are you afraid of, Scorpio? Does the fear of failure, the fear of disappointment, cripple your will? Enough. The era of procrastination is over. The time to prepare is over. Now is the moment of truth. Understand, you are not weak. Even in moments of vulnerability, when the world tries to make you doubt your strength, remember, you are unbreakable. The sensitivity inherent in some natures is not a sign of weakness, but rather evidence of deep wisdom and insight. This sensitivity allows you to see nuances that escape most, to feel subtle signals, and to anticipate events hidden in the fog of the unknown. However, if this ability does not find trust and recognition, it can become a heavy burden. But a person is born not to carry an unbearable burden, but to fly, to shine, to illuminate the path from the very depths of darkness. It is worth realizing another important truth, albeit a painful one: the pursuit of perfection can become a serious obstacle to success. Exaggerated expectations of oneself and the surrounding world lead to dissatisfaction and a sense of inadequacy. The desire for everything to be perfect and precise paralyzes actions, distances you from others, and locks you in a cage of your own illusions. It is necessary to let go of this pursuit of the unattainable ideal. Perfection does not exist in nature, but reality, in all its fullness and diversity, is capable of healing, surprising, and giving love, despite all the cracks, shadows, and bright sides. Everyone deserves such acceptance and love. In the coming days, you should exercise particular caution in your reactions. Emotions will be heightened to the limit, and there will be an overwhelming desire to speak the truth to people's faces, regardless of the consequences. There will be a feeling that there is no strength to remain silent. However, at the same time, you will also be given the power of choice, the opportunity to look at the situation from a different point of view, to understand that it is not always important to be right, and that true strength lies in calmness, moderation, and the ability to choose the moment for speaking and observing. It is necessary to exercise wisdom in your decisions, as the words spoken in these days can have far-reaching consequences. In the very heart of change, something grand is being born, an economic upswing. What seemed motionless is set in motion. Financial flows come to life, opening up new horizons, prospects, and ways to increase capital. However, one should remember prudence: do not waste resources in vain, buying unnecessary things or trying to fill a spiritual void with fleeting purchases. It is important to direct funds to self-development, the realization of ambitions, improving the quality of life, and expanding opportunities. A turning point is coming, a kind of portal into a new reality. The universe is testing how ready a person is to take a decisive step forward. Fear is inevitable, but it is also a source of strength, the strength that arises after falls and the realization of the need to get up, without excuses or self-deception. Scorpio, the inner voice, the call from above and from everywhere calls for action. Will you ignore it again, or answer the call? It is time to accept your shadows, look them in the face, and understand that they do not bring destruction, but revelation. Scorpios, like no other, know what it means to go through darkness, to feel the collapse of everything, and to continue moving forward, rising from the ashes. This experience has been repeated so often that it cannot be counted. However, this time, Scorpio, the situation is radically changing. This time, it is not just about survival, but about awakening to a new reality. There is something unusual in the surrounding atmosphere, some kind of energy that encourages action, shakes you up, and persistently whispers in your ear. Now or never, this is the motto of the moment. And yes, this may cause some confusion, as the coming changes do not promise comfort and gradualness. On the contrary, they carry strength, clarity, intuitive understanding, and determination. Scorpio faces a choice: continue to cling to the past or start living a real, full life. It is not possible to combine both options. You cannot fly while tied to the ground, you cannot love while continuing to hide in the shadows. It's not about changing yourself for someone else's approval, but about freeing yourself, finding your voice, and living in accordance with your true essence. There is something that is not usually spoken aloud, Scorpio: your inner strength and intensity are not a flaw, but a valuable gift. However, if you do not manage this energy, if you do not direct it in the right direction, it can turn against you, absorb you, and ultimately lead to isolation. Not everyone is able to withstand the raw truth that you carry within you. But this does not mean that you need to suppress your essence, but rather learn to use it for good. His nature contains a transforming energy that can change the world around him. When he experiences a feeling of love, he gives himself to it completely, without recognizing any compromises or half-measures. In moments of self-sacrifice, he leaves nothing outside his impulse, plunging into it completely. And when suffering befalls him, he experiences it to the depths of his soul, to the bones. It's this very ability to feel so deeply that makes him real, sets him apart from the crowd, and turns him into a person who is impossible to forget. However, at times he forgets to direct this powerful force toward himself. He generously lavishes it on others, striving to save and support those around him. But who supports him? It's time to look inside himself with ruthless honesty, to ask himself questions about his true desires, needs, and merits. Everything he's been putting off, everything he's been suppressing so as not to burden others or seem too much, is now bursting forth. This inner truth, like a Scorpio, will always find a way to be heard, whether he likes it or not. And right now, it's screaming inside him with incredible force. His inner truth screams in his dreams, in moments of silence, and in bouts of inexplicable anger. He needs to listen to this scream, no longer trying to stifle it. It's important to remember one thing: he must not lock himself away, he must not isolate himself from the world and return to a place where nothing and no one can touch him. Yes, he will be safe there, but at the same time, alone. And he did not come into this world to lead a solitary existence. His purpose is to share, to connect with others, and to leave his unique mark on history. It's not about erecting barriers, but about open doors and an open heart, about demonstrating his true essence in all its diversity. The coming weekend is crucial, as the upcoming events will bring to light an unpleasant but vital truth. It will become clear who is who in reality, and who was just playing a role. Moments that previously went unnoticed will attract attention. There will be an awareness of things that were previously stubbornly ignored. It's possible that this will be a painful process, but it will bring liberation, relieving him of a burden that shouldn't be on his shoulders. An opportunity will arise to say a long-awaited goodbye, which will become a turning point, dividing life into before and after. If he learns to use his full potential, no one will be able to stop him. However, first of all, he must be true to himself, to his path, to his wounds, and to his dreams. It's time to stop making excuses and stop waiting for the perfect moment, because that moment is now. The portal is open, and the only obstacle to evolution is himself. Therefore, he should make choices boldly, with love and devotion, as the coming changes will require complete dedication, and, in turn, he must be ready to give his all. In the soul of the Scorpio burns an unquenchable flame, which can no longer be ignored. This inner fire flares up whenever he suppresses his true feelings, when he is forced to endure the unacceptable, when he sacrifices personal aspirations for the well-being of others. This flame is the voice of his soul, insistently calling him to stop belittling himself, hiding his potential, and devaluing his own merits. Scorpio, he was not created for mediocrity. His destiny is to live on a grand scale and brightly. If until now he has been tormented by doubts, if he has asked himself questions and considered his desires excessive, now is the time to realize, he deserves the best. And this realization causes anxiety in many, because when such a person, who has been silent for a long time, begins to speak confidently, the world around him trembles. And this is for the best, because Scorpio is finally taking his rightful place. He has to make decisions that he has been putting off for months. Changes that he recognizes as necessary, but which cause fear. Relationships that have lost their harmony. Work that has ceased to bring satisfaction. Habits that suppress his vital energy. Observing these people or situations, Scorpio realizes their destructive influence, but an inexplicable attachment does not allow him to break the vicious circle. Perhaps, deep inside, there is a thought about being unworthy of a better fate. This inner critic, harping on the impossibility of success, on the preference for stagnation, is just an echo of past disappointments, a fear skillfully disguised as prudence. He shouldn't trust him. Scorpio holds all the cards, he has enormous power at his disposal. Intuition, the sharpest in the entire zodiacal circle, could become a reliable compass, but fear of the unknown forces him to ignore the inner voice, preferring external noise. In this hustle and bustle, it is easy to lose the most valuable thing, one's own essence. After all, the birth of a new Scorpio is looming on the horizon, free, insightful, and powerful. This new self needs room to maneuver, fresh air of change, decisive actions, and not empty promises and indecisive intentions. On this path, trials are inevitable. There will be people trying to stop the transformation, others will not be able to understand the changes, and still others will disappear without explanation. Each of them will become a mirror, reflecting those parts of the Scorpio's personality that also need attention and healing. There is no need to condemn, persecute, or hold on to these people. It is necessary to let them go, because what is true will always find its way back. What is leaving dies off, having completed its predetermined circle. This turning point is of great importance. An unprecedented surge of energy is ready to breathe life into new beginnings, but at the same time, it harbors the danger of returning to old, ingrained patterns of behavior if vigilance is lost. Scorpio must make a conscious choice, guided by the call of the heart, not fear. One should avoid familiar and comfortable solutions, for comfort is the worst enemy of dreams. Representatives of this zodiac sign are not born to compromise. The economic sphere of Scorpio's life is experiencing a period of active growth, but the financial aspect is not the only factor that determines success. It is important to pay attention to how Scorpio positions themselves in society, how highly they value their own merits, and whether they are ready to demand fair pay for their work. It's time to boldly invest in oneself, in one's ideas and projects, because if Scorpio does not believe in themselves, who will believe in them? It's time to stop settling for less, stop seeking approval and asking for permission. Scorpio's star hour has arrived. While external circumstances are undergoing dramatic changes, Scorpio's inner world is also engulfed in a whirlwind of change. During this period, days of confusion, causeless longing, and increased emotional sensitivity are possible. This is about transformation, about the painful but necessary process of getting rid of the obsolete in order to make way for the new. This path is associated with discomfort, like shedding old skin, but the result is the acquisition of a more solid, radiant, and authentic self. Special attention is paid to Scorpios who should realize that there is no force more powerful than a heart striving for healing. If Scorpio is on this path, they should not stop, sabotage themselves, or hide from their true self. Their essence, potential, and future life deserve to be lived without fear, limitations, and excuses. Scorpio is thanked for the path they have traveled, which testifies to their readiness for change, their desire for more, and their unwillingness to settle for mere survival. They yearn for a full life, rejecting falsehood and everything that does not resonate in their soul. This striving for authenticity elevates Scorpio and directs them on the true path, because the universe always responds to those who are ready to act. They are about to make a huge leap forward. Now, when Scorpio needs themselves most of all, their energy, soul, and unquenchable fire, they should remember that there were those who would like to suppress them. Their radiance, their uniqueness cause discomfort in those who prefer to remain in the shadows, without realizing it. This is about a person born with an open view of the world, able to see the essence of things. Past wounds should not define them, as they are only part of the journey, not its end. Each mistake, failure, and disappointment prepared them, shaped their character, honed their intuition, softened their heart, and expanded their consciousness. There is no point in hating the former self, on the contrary, one should love and thank them for bringing them to their current state, allowing them to feel, understand, and realize themselves. A moment of rebirth is coming, when it is necessary to dedicate oneself to oneself as a conscious decision and a manifestation of self-love. It is important to make choices in one's favor every day, in every lesson, word, and silence. Stop neglecting yourself so as not to inconvenience others, and suppressing your individuality so as not to stand out from the crowd. The world must get used to the power of personality. When the moment comes when everything around begins to collapse and control is lost, it is important to remember that this is not chaos, but rearrangement, transformation, and a call of life to more. Inside there is everything you need, a ready soul, strength in the blood, and determination in the heart. They need to be used, not wasted. Life will offer new scenarios, meetings with people with different views, projects that inspire, and paths that were not dreamed of before. In such moments, you need to say, yes, even if there is no complete certainty and your legs are shaking, because in anticipation of an absolute guarantee, you can live your whole life. It is necessary to move forward with faith, courage, and truth, to express oneself so that the world hears the voice, love finds with an open heart, projects are born with a personal stamp, and energy is directed to actions, not complaints. After all, it is such people who change the world and transform it from within, light the lights that illuminate the path for others, but first of all, their own. This is a call, a push, and an affirmation. Everything that needed to be heard has already been heard. Now it remains to act, choose, and live boldly, so that it is noticeable, tangible, and contagious. Even if you stumble along the way, you have to get up, dust yourself off, and start again, without stopping or looking back, because there's nothing there anymore.